Good afternoon and welcome to WEFM's Midday News, brought to you with the kind compliments of Courts St. Vincent Limited.
Always wanted a motorcycle, but they've been too expensive. I pass in on my way to work, and then boom, I see Courts have motorcycles outside. I'm excited. I get up one day, I go down, I spoke to this guy. I think his name was Sheena, this short, chubby little guy. I purchased two bikes so far. It was the 150 SL and the 250 Dragon. These blue, beautiful AKT TT Dragon. This is my baby. I call her Becky. She gives me the best ride ever. My name is Storyboy Nick, and I live to ride my AKT.
Welcome back to WEFM's Midday News, brought to you with the kind compliments of Courts St. Vincent Limited. I am your presenter, Rajiv Providence. First, on the local scene, Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves says that customers can expect to see the positive impact of the Petrocaribe fuel in their January bills. The Prime Minister was at the time speaking on NBC Radio when he disclosed that he had talks with VINEC pertaining to the fuel surcharge and that he had inquired as to why it had increased by 1 cent. We hear more from the Prime Minister.
2 days ago, I called VINEC and asked what was the current fuel surcharge. Well, it went up by 1 cent, and I found that troubling, so I inquired. We have a lot of rain, so hydro is producing pretty much at the maximum, and generally speaking, we should have had a reduction. But what happened is this: the distributor Sol provides between 40 and 45% of the fuel which is consumed for electricity. The main place is Lomans, which consumes about 55 to 60% of the fuel. And now we get in Petrocaribe, we'll see the impact of Petrocaribe in the January bill because of the backlog of other supplies now. But because we don't have the extent of the storage at Cane Hall, that storage is like 2 days storage you have now for Cane Hall and the Grenadines. So SAL provides that 40 to 45% overall national.
That was the Prime Minister, Dr. Rav Gonsalves. The MV Immaculata, a cargo ship carrying 20,000 barrels of oil from Venezuela, landed at Lomans Bay in October. This was the first supply of petrol to St. Vincent and the Grenadines under the amended Petrocaribe Agreement, which now offers a 35% discount on fuel prices for ALBA member nations. The management and staff of the St. Vincent Brewery Limited recently took time out to celebrate the company's inaugural Happiness Day. According to a release, the Happiness Day event was the initiative of plant manager Colin Huskinson and was hosted so that the company could show appreciation to the staff for their hard work and dedication. Huskinson said that despite facing several challenges over the last few years, the brewery's staff has shown resilience and commitment, and this Happiness Day was the company's way of saying thank you. A key feature of Happiness Day was managers and supervisors behind the counter serving breakfast and lunch to the frontline staff. The release from the St. Vincent Brewery Limited states that there were cricket and dominoes tournaments, giant tic-tac-toe, and 4 in a row played outside. Indoors, there were board games, Jenga, safety bingo, table tennis, and even a PlayStation 4 football tournament. Over 50 prizes were awarded to the winners in several categories. Still on the local scene, Minister of Education Curtis King, when asked if he was satisfied with the progress that has been made in the education sector in the last 2 years, stated that he was satisfied but not comfortable. The Education Minister was a guest on WEFM's Issue at Hand program, where he acknowledged that there is a lot of work to be done to fill the gaps in education. We'll hear more from Minister King.
Well, let me put it this way: satisfied but not comfortable, because I recognize that there were gaps before I got there. There are still gaps since I've been there, and we have to address these. And as I indicated early on, given our commitment to an education that is inclusive, that is of a high quality, that is lifelong, we recognize that there's a lot of work to be done to get us to that level where we can feel comfortable, and we are not at that stage.
That was the Minister of Education, Curtis King, speaking on WEFM's Issue at Hand program. Minister King noted that during a meeting held in Grenada, it was acknowledged that there is much more to be done with regards to the exposure of the English-speaking Caribbean to tertiary-level education. On to news in the region. Former Belizean National Security Minister John Saldivar has denied all corruption allegations against him as he responded to the United States Secretary of State's decision to place travel sanctions on him and his immediate family. In a Facebook post, Saldivar said the allegations that he was involved in significant corruption during his time as minister are baseless and malicious. The State Department alleged Saldivar accepted bribes for the improper acquisition of Belizean immigration documents and interfered in public processes for his personal benefit during his tenure as a government official. In a subsequent Facebook post, Saldivar said the allegations against him are based on claims made by a car dealer who was seeking a U.S. visa at the embassy in Belmopan. Saldivar believes the sanctions are an attempt by the U.S. to meddle in Belizean politics, since he had planned to put himself up for consideration as the United Democratic Party's UDP candidate in the general election in the party's convention. Grenada's Prime Minister, Decon Mitchell, has urged public sector retirees who began receiving delayed gratuity and pension payments to spend the money wisely. On Tuesday, the government, which came into office following the June 23rd general election, began making pension and gratuity payments to retirees ahead of the November 30th deadline. It said that the payment of these long overdue benefits symbolizes the government's dedication to its transformation agenda that seeks to empower its people and make good on commitments to citizens and be transparent in its governance of the country. In February 1985, the then government successfully tabled the Pension Disqualification Act, disqualifying all established public officers. Insurance Scheme (NIS) became the sole state agency responsible for the payment of pensions. However, years later, the legislation was challenged in the courts on constitutional grounds, and in March this year, Grenada's High Court ruled that the Pension Disqualification Act was indeed unconstitutional, resulting in the reinstatement of pension and gratuity payments to all retired established public officers. On the international scene, more strikes have been reported across Ukraine days after one of Russia's most intense bombardments of the war. A gas production plant in the east and a missile factory in Dnipro were among the latest targets, officials say. Parts of Ukraine have seen their first snowfall of the season, but many people cannot heat their homes as Russia continues to pound their power grid. Moscow has looked to justify its recent strikes by accusing Kiev of unwillingness to negotiate. Its recent long range attacks follow a series of setbacks on the battlefield during the months long war. One of Ukraine's largest cities, Dnipro, was among those targeted early on Thursday. Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal said the Privdenmash factory, which produces missiles, had come under attack. Another official said 14 people, including a teenager, had been taken to the hospital after the city was shelled. And finally, in sports, the Bishop's College Kingstown maintained their hold of the top spot in Group C of the junior division of the Intersecondary Schools football competition with a 1-0 win over the Bequia Community High School at the Clive Tannis playing field in Bequia on Wednesday. The deciding goal came from Jamor Williams. Games were also decided in the primary school's netball competition. At the Oria Hardcourt, the Fancy Government School beat Oria Government 24-0, Sandy Bay squeezed by Turoma Government 6-5, and Langley Park went under to Park Hill at 3-1. At the Layou Hardcourt, Fitzhugh's Government beat the Barrowley Anglican 8-2, Chateaubelair Methodist had a 10-1 win against Dubois Government School, and the hometown team, Layou Government, beat Barrowley Government 19-3. Lomond's Winwood Anglican had a comfortable 19-0 win over Belair Government, and in a low-scoring affair, Richland Park Government School beat Gourmet Methodist 2-1. This has been WEFM's Midday News. I have been your presenter, Rajiv Providence. Join us again at 3 p.m. for WEFM's 3 p.m. News. WEFM's Midday News is brought to you with the kind compliments of Courts, St. Vincent Limited.
Black Friday deals start now, only at Courts Optical. Save up to 80% off your purchase. Get the latest in eyewear fashion with frames starting at just $99. Payment plans available from 3 to 24 months. Schedule your appointment online today on www.courtsoptical.com. It's easy and convenient. Black Friday sale starts now with up to 80% off frames as low as $99. Only at Courts Optical. Value